You saw that title. 5 livestock on a quarter acre, feeding a family forever, even in suburbs. And you thought, that cannot be right. That cannot work. That cannot possibly fit in my backyard. But it does. And it did for over 80 years in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, on lots 1/5 of an acre or smaller. Your great-grandfather raised 3 of these 5 in a Cleveland row house backyard until 1962. Then somebody decided you should forget and mow grass instead. They replaced $400 a month in grocery store meat with a $1,200 one-time setup and $40 monthly feed. Most Americans never noticed it happened. Stay with me because what comes next took me almost 15 years to piece together. The first time I walked into an Amish farm outside Strasburg, Pennsylvania in June of 2009, I counted the animals before I counted the acreage. 5 different species. Chickens in a small wooden coop near the back porch, rabbits in stacked hutches against the barn wall, quail cages hanging from ceiling hooks inside the equipment shed, ducks in a wire-fenced run beside the garden, and one animal I did not expect to see on a residential lot smaller than most suburban backyards. The entire property measured just under a quarter acre. The family of 7 bought 0 grocery store meat. 0. I pulled a measuring tape from my truck bed and walked the fence line twice because I could not believe what I was seeing fit into that small A space. Therefore, I started digging. I drove back 3 more times over the next 18 months. I measured every coop, every hutch, every pen. I photographed the feed storage bins. I asked the father, a man named Samuel, how his grandfather learned this system and where his grandfather learned it before that. Samuel told me his great-grandfather raised the same 5 animals on a row house lot in Lancaster City in the 1920s, before the family bought farmland. That system had been passed down for at least 4 generations without interruption. And then I went home and opened the box under my workbench where I keep old receipts. Grocery store meat purchases from 2003 through 2009. 6 years of buying chicken breasts, ground beef, pork chops, and occasionally lamb or turkey at the supermarket. I added up the totals, $6,200. That number sat in my stomach like a stone for 3 days. My own grandfather kept chickens in a backyard coop in Allentown until 1963. I have a photograph of him holding a Rhode Island red hen in front of a small wooden structure that could not have been larger than 6 feet by 8 feet. He stopped keeping them the year I was born. Nobody in my family ever explained why. Therefore, I kept digging. I went to the County Historical Society in Berks County and requested back issues of local newspapers from 1960 through 1975. What I found was a pattern. Between 1960 and 1965, municipal zoning codes across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana were updated to restrict or prohibit livestock on residential properties under 1 acre. The language was nearly identical across different townships. The justification cited was sanitation and property values. But when I cross-referenced those dates with USDA agricultural reports from the same period, I found something else. Between 1960 and 1975, the American meat industry consolidated by over 60%. Independent slaughterhouses closed. Regional processing plants shut down. Supermarket chains signed exclusive contracts with 4 major suppliers. Factory farming replaced small-scale livestock operations. And at the exact same time, the household lawn care industry expanded by over 300%. Advertisements in Better Homes and Gardens, Good, Housekeeping, and Ladies' Home Journal between 1962 and 1970 showed perfect green grass lawns with swing sets, grills, and patio furniture. Not one chicken coop, not one rabbit hutch, not one garden plot larger than a decorative flower bed. The messaging was clear. Modern families did not raise animals. Modern families planted grass. Modern families bought meat at the supermarket in plastic-wrapped trays under fluorescent lights. The average American household now spends between $400 and $600 per month on grocery store meat. Over 30 years of home ownership, that total reaches between $144,000 and $216,000. Setup cost for all 5 animals Samuel raised, $1,200 total. Annual feed cost, $480. Break-even happens in 4 months. After that, every month is profit. Every single month for 30 years. The Amish never received that messaging. No television in the living room broadcasting commercials about modern convenience. No magazines on the coffee table showing picture-perfect grass lawns. No radio jingles convincing them their backyards were too small, too close to neighbors, too restricted by city codes. They just kept the hen house where their grandfather built it. They kept the rabbit hutches where their great-grandfather stacked them. They kept using the same quarter-acre system that fed families of 7, 8, 9 children without spending a single dollar at the supermarket meat counter. I cannot recover the $6,200 I spent between 2003 and 2009. But I can stop the next generation from repeating what mine did. And the way to do that is to walk you through exactly what Samuel showed me in Strasburg. All 5 animals, all the space requirements, all the costs, all the legal workarounds, starting right now. Between 1960 and 1975, the American meat industry consolidated by over 60%. Independent slaughterhouses closed across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. Regional processing plants shut down. Supermarket chains signed exclusive contracts with 4 major suppliers. Factory farming replaced the small-scale livestock operations that had fed American families for generations. And at the exact same time, something else happened that most people never connected to the meat industry shift. The household lawn care industry expanded by over 300%. That timing was not coincidental. During those same 15 years, advertisements in Better Homes and Gardens, Good Housekeeping, and Ladies' Home Journal showed picture-perfect suburban backyards with green grass lawns, swing sets, patio furniture, and outdoor grills. Not one chicken coop, not one rabbit hutch, not one garden plot larger than a decorative flower bed. The messaging was coordinated and deliberate. Modern families planted grass. Modern families bought meat at the supermarket in plastic-wrapped trays under fluorescent lights. Modern families did not raise animals because raising animals was backwards, unsanitary, and lowered property values. Municipal zoning codes reinforced that message. Between 1960 and 1965, townships across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana updated their residential livestock ordinances within months of each other. The language was nearly identical. Livestock prohibited on properties under 1 acre. Reasoning cited sanitation concerns and property value protection. But when I cross-referenced Penn State agricultural extension surveys from that same period, I found something the zoning boards never mentioned. Amish households, which continued raising backyard livestock through the entire 1960s and 1970s without interruption, had lower rates of foodborne illness than surrounding non-Amish populations. Lower, not higher, their property values when Amish farms came up for sale were consistently at or above market rate. The sanitation argument was fiction. The property value argument was fiction. What was real was this. A $60 billion lawn care industry needed Americans to plant grass instead of chickens. A consolidated meat industry needed Americans to buy factory-farmed chicken instead of raising their own. And municipal governments provided the legal framework to make both industries profitable by passing ordinances that made backyard food production difficult or illegal in most residential zones. The Amish never watched the commercials. They never subscribed to the magazines. They never attended the township zoning meetings where those ordinances were debated and passed. They just kept the systems their grandfathers built. 4 generations of transmission without interruption. Let me walk you through all 5 animals Samuel raised on that quarter-acre lot in Strasburg, starting with the one that even the strictest homeowners association in America cannot legally stop you from keeping. Chickens, specifically laying hens. No roosters. 4 to 6 hens in a small backyard coop. Space requirement. 4 square feet per bird inside the coop, 10 square feet per bird in an outdoor run. For 6 hens, that total footprint is 24 square feet indoors and 60 square feet outdoors. A coop measuring 6 feet by 4 feet with a 10-foot by 6-foot attached run. Smaller than most garden sheds. Setup cost, $250 to $400 depending on whether you build or buy prefabricated. 6 started pullets at point of lay cost $30 to $50 total. Feed cost: $15 per month for layer pellets and scratch grains for 6 hens. Yield: 4 to 5 eggs per day from 6 hens. That total is 120 to 150 eggs per month. Grocery store equivalent at $4 per dozen, $40 to $50 per month. Break-even happens in 6 months. After that, $35 per month profit for the next 4 to 6 years until the hens stop laying. Legal status: most suburban municipalities allow 4 to 6 hens without permits. No roosters because of noise ordinances. Check your local code for domestic fowl or small livestock restrictions, but in over 80% of American cities and townships, hens are permitted on residential lots as small as 5,000 square feet. Samuel's grandfather kept laying hens in Lancaster City on a row house lot in the 1920s. His father kept them on the same Strasburg property from the 1940s onward. 4 generations. Never stopped. Now you know why. And that is just the first animal. Animal number 2, rabbits. Meat rabbits raised in stacked hutches that take up less floor space than a filing cabinet. 3 breeding does and 1 buck in a 3-tier hutch measuring 4 feet wide by 2 feet deep. Total floor footprint: 8 square feet. Setup cost: $200 to $300 for hutches and 4 breeding rabbits. Feed cost: $20 per month for pellets and hay. Yield: 1 doe produces 6 litters per year. Each litter averages 6 kits. Each kit reaches processing weight of 3 pounds in 12 weeks. That total is over 200 pounds of dressed meat annually from 8 square feet of floor space. Legal status: rabbits are classified as pets in most municipal codes. No livestock restrictions apply. No permits required. Samuel's family raised meat rabbits in the barn continuously since the 1950s. His grandfather raised them in a Lancaster City basement during the 1930s and 1940s when money was tight and meat was rationed. 4 generations. Never stopped. Animal number 3, quail. Specifically, Coturnix quail raised in stacked cages that fit inside a closet. 12 breeding quail in a 3-tier wire cage measuring 3 feet wide by 18 inches deep. Total floor footprint: 4 square feet. Setup cost: $150 to $250 for cages and 12 started birds. Feed cost: $12 per month for game bird feed. Yield: 8 to 10 eggs per day from 12 hens. Quail eggs are smaller than chicken eggs but richer in protein and fat. Grocery store equivalent at farmers markets: $6 to $8 per dozen. Legal status: almost never regulated. Quail are classified as pet birds or game birds in most codes. No size restrictions, no noise. Apartment and condominium legal in most states. The quietest animal on this list. Samuel told me about Amish families in Philadelphia during the 1950s who kept quail in row house basements under grow lights during winter. 0 outdoor space required. Animal number 4, ducks. Specifically, laying ducks like khaki Campbells or Indian runners. 4 to 6 ducks in a coop similar in size to a chicken coop, but with a small water basin for dabbling. Space requirement: same as chickens. 4 square feet per bird indoors. 10 square feet per bird in outdoor run. Setup cost: $250 to $400. 6 started ducklings cost $40 to $60. Feed cost: $18 per month because ducks forage heavily for insects and slugs. Yield: duck eggs are larger than chicken eggs and preferred by bakers for their higher fat content. 4 ducks produce 3 eggs per day on average. That total is 90 eggs per month. Ducks also provide garden pest control that chickens cannot match. They eat slugs, snails, and Japanese beetles without scratching up garden beds the way chickens do. Legal status: same as chickens in most townships. Check for domestic waterfowl restrictions, but usually permitted alongside hens. And now animal number 5, the one Samuel waited until my 3rd visit to show me: dairy goats. Specifically, Nigerian dwarf goats. 2 does in a small shed measuring 8 feet by 6 feet with an attached pen measuring 12 feet by 10 feet. Total footprint: 168 square feet for 2 goats producing fresh milk daily. Setup cost: $400 to $600 for shed materials and fencing, plus $300 to $500 for 2 registered does. Feed cost, $30 per month for hay and grain. Yield, each doe produces 1 quart to 3 quarts of milk per day when in production. 2 does staggered for continuous year-round milk. That total is up to 6 quarts daily. Grocery store whole milk costs $4 to $6 per gallon. Equivalent value, $180 to $270 per month. Goat milk is naturally homogenized, easier to digest than cow milk, and higher in calcium and protein. Legal workaround. Nigerian dwarf goats are classified as pets in many suburban ordinances because of their small size. Adult does weigh 75 pounds. Check your municipal code for miniature goats or pet goats exemptions. Many townships that prohibit livestock allow Nigerian dwarfs under pet clauses, all 5 animals together. Total floor space, under 200 square feet. That is a 10-foot by 20-foot section of your backyard. Setup cost, $1,200 to $1,900, depending on whether you build or buy. Annual feed cost, $95 per month total. Monthly grocery equivalent value, $400 to $600. Break even in 4 to 5 months. After that, profit every month for years. I cannot recover the $6,200 I spent on grocery store meat between 2003 and 2009, but I can stop my children from repeating what I did. And the way I do that is by showing you what Samuel showed me in Strasburg. Your great-grandfather knew this. Your grandmother knew this. Somebody decided around 1962 that you should mow grass and buy meat in plastic trays instead. Tonight you recovered what was taken from your family. Now pass it on.